Welcome to RE Uncut. Our daily shows are supported by Printforce, Sure Agents, Rock End and CoreLogic.
Everyone's reason for doing what they do can be very different. So today we look at why we do what we do. As the first part in our series, Nathan and Angelo from Sole Property Agents are off to a flying start in their own agency at the toughest of times. Angelo and Nathan talked to our guest host this week, Dan Argent from UrbanX. Both Nathan and Angelo reached a stage in their careers when they needed to make a change. So what made them decide to go it alone? They answer that today with Dan Argent. You'll hear it in just a moment.
Your business card is a vital selling tool and a constant visual reminder of who you are, what you do, and more importantly, how you can be contacted. Introducing our new Velvet business cards, featuring a luxurious premium laminate that has a velvet texture and is soft to the touch. Printed on a resilient 450 GSM card, these cards can be printed with a range of spot gloss and foiling options to give your office that prestigious look.
Hey, Nathan and Angelo, mate, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations on making the decision to start your own business.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Glad to be here, mate.
Yeah, fabulous. So, I love Simon Sinek's everything starts with why. I'm sure you've all, heard that before. If you haven't, I strongly suggest everyone watches that clip on YouTube. Start with why. So let's start with your why. Can you tell us a little bit about why you actually decided to start your own business?
Yeah, sure, Dan. Look, for me, and I'm sure Nathan will answer from his point of view as well, mate, one of the big things was at the start of it, I've been in the industry for 20 years and been working away, probably fell into that realm of a bit of a corporate environment. And it got to a point where some of my family and close friends and my circle of influence just said, mate, you're not yourself. And Dan, that put me in a position where I got to sit back and really think about why I was doing what I was doing as a whole. Yeah. So, yeah, that gave me good time to just peel back the layers and really make some serious decisions about, what I want to do in the career of real estate. It's a passion. I love it. I enjoy helping people more than anything else. For me, it's not about a sold sticker. And when I got to really collect all that and put it in one bundle, I said, you know what, maybe it is time. Maybe it's time that I got to do it my way and I got to do it for me.
Yeah, love it. Yep. Yeah, that's great. And Nathan, what about you?
Oh, look, I've been doing this 15, 16 years and all of a sudden I found myself in the comfort zone and that scared me. I love what I do, but all of a sudden I wasn't motivated to come into the office and actually do what I love. So that comfort zone really frightened me. And also I could see the industry was changing. It's a really dynamic industry. Technology is playing a massive part. Speed of service, the energy levels you needed, and being in your comfort zone just meant that I couldn't achieve the goals that I wanted. So it was time to make a big change. And it's also really important to have a group of people around you that have that same level of energy or the same vision. And so I couldn't contribute in the way that I normally would when you're a little bit flat. And so it was time to reset the challenge.
So it sounds like both of you reached a point in your career around that sort of 15-year mark, 20-year mark, where things were changing for you personally and something needed to change. And obviously the change that you guys decided to make was to go into partnership and start your own business. What led you to starting your own business being that change? Because you could have, Angelo, listening to what you said, you potentially could have changed careers and gone into a different field. You were really questioning that you're not yourself anymore. And Angelo, your energy was sort of a little bit flat and, a bit of that motivation was gone. What was it about starting your own business and working for yourselves that made that the solution for you?
Yeah, Dan, you're 100% right. And they're the exact thoughts that I had during that time where I sat back and started to do that self-analyze and try and find the rest of the why, not just about starting my own business. But
that's right.
It was it was a crossing of paths, which led to the opportunity. I'd made my decisions about, leaving my previous employer, which I'd loved being there for the whole nearly 16 years I was there. And crossing the paths that led to conversations. And most importantly, though, when we got to the nut of it about what we loved about real estate and what I loved about real estate, all of a sudden that energy level did change. The inspiration to get back in there and hit that reset button was driven by the fact that I'd finally been able to have a serious conversation with someone else from the industry that was going to head down a path. And, we started to line these stars up, and the core values, the reasons, the motivations, made the decision for me to say, Nathan, hey, let's do it, or yes, Nathan, let's do it. They become very real and actually a little bit easier because, again, I had someone there with that energy to share. Yeah, love it. Nathan, do you want to add to that?
I think it was a big part of being able to make decisions much quicker. I think it's a huge asset that salespeople have, that we can take on a risk, we can make a decision. If it doesn't quite work out, we're very good at forgetting that and moving on. So I just found it very difficult previously having to work hard to get a decision through the system, as opposed to now I can make decisions on the fly. You live and die by that decision. But it has brought a new energy to it. It's exhilarating to know that we hold all the risk.
Well, you're in charge of your own destiny, right? And that is exhilarating. Now, where are you joining us from today? Where are you guys?
Griffith, New South Wales, in the Soul HQ boardroom with the mural, brand new mural, just gone up today.
Yeah, nice. And Griffith is a town with it's a bit notorious. I hear featured quite widely on that show Underbelly. Is that right?
It's made one or two appearances. Yeah, Dan. It's known for some not so popular headlines.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a bit scary. But I'll tell you what else is a little bit scary is actually leaving the perceived comfort and safety of working for someone else and working for an agency, and actually, jumping out and launching your own business. Now, I understand from you guys that that's something that actually paralyzed you for quite a long time from following your dreams and starting your own business. Can you tell me and tell the rest of us a little bit more about how you overcame, or what that fear was like, and how long it held you back, and then how you actually overcame that fear?
Yeah, look, absolutely. It was paralysing. We had an identity in the organisations we worked for, and it felt like our whole identity and everything that we had worked for was all attached to the brand and the business. And so it took a lot of energy to be able to move away from that. For me personally, I'd had so many people approach me over the years to say, oh, when are you going out on your own? Or
really?
A lot of people couldn't believe that it hadn't happened already. Wow. So it also got a little bit embarrassing at times. And others believed in us more than we believed in ourselves. So what I found was that even though I was being challenged at home with the family, that I needed something more. And for me, it came in the strangest way. Believe it or not, it was a card reader. And my wife had her cards read. And the lady said, I apologise, this is all about Nathan. And he's about to do something that's going to be hugely successful. I don't believe in the card readers, or I didn't at that time, but that's all I needed. I'd made my decision based on that. And I found if you've got something to hang on to, then that gives you that inner strength just to move forward. And from that moment on, I never deviated. So that's how it came about for me.
Yeah, love it. I mean, the things that I've taken down then are the number one, you spoke about growth, and you spoke about actually wanting to be challenged And I guess you, just listening to what you said, it sounds like you got to the point in your career where you were no longer being challenged and you were looking for that next challenge. And I think that us in life, so much of our fulfillment actually comes from growth, and growth comes from being challenged. And so it sounds like maybe you'd sort of reached a point where that had stopped, and therefore your own personal growth had stopped a little bit. And secondly, the thing that I picked up on was belief. And I just think belief is so damn important. And it's our self-belief. And, you know, I've experienced something similar, Nathan, where about a year ago or a bit more, someone that I really value their opinion said to me, you know, I believe in you. Everyone else believes in you. You're the only person that doesn't believe in you. And I just thought, geez, who am I letting down? You know, not only myself, but so many other people. And it seems like you're exactly the same in that regard. And then finally is hope. You've got to have hope of a compelling future that's better than your current reality, to actually, you know, to take the leap of faith. Can I just ask you before I pass over to you, Angelo? You know, you've spoken about where that hope came from. You've spoken about the challenge, but can you just touch on belief? What did it take for you to really start believing in yourself that you could do it? Other people can believe in you, but you've got to believe in you.
It came very simply from my three girls. Yeah. And, you know, 5, 10, 13, they're going through new experiences every day. And when they go, Dad, I'm frightened, I ask the question, what's on the other side of fear? And we joke. We say there's nothing on the other side of fear. And it was interesting to take my own advice. I asked myself the question, and I tell you what, there is nothing on the other side of fear.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. All right, Angelo, how about you? Was the fear, you know, you said you really enjoyed working for the business that you were with for 16 years. You know, did you also have that fear of you know, jumping and going out on your own? And if you did, how did you get over it?
Yeah, Dan, look, like I said yesterday, you know, one of the things was when I had that bit of time to sit back and, you know, really think about where I was heading with things. And it wasn't until I'd made the decision that, yeah, you know, we're going to do this. And I had the support of everyone around me that needed to be there. That's when I started to be afraid. It wasn't until after the initial decision was made, I started to think about the what ifs and how comes and how is this all going to look. And what actually sealed the fate for me to actually get that confidence, you know, to get over that self-doubt in what I was doing was, my dad's 83. Mate, he's a staunch, proper old Italian where I was brought up old school. You don't buy something unless you've got the money. You don't take that extra step, that extra risk. And he actually, when we spoke about it, turned around and said, you know what, Ange, you're doing the right thing here. And I think that's the right pathway for you to go out and demonstrate what you can do, because you've already done it for so long in other environments. Now get out and have a go and back yourself. And, you know, not knowing my old man Dan or knowing where that upbringing is and what I was taught, mate, that sounds a little bit cliched, but it's real. It's 150%, the big pat on the back that said, you know what, son, go out and have a go. And, mate, that gave me the confidence to say, you know what, win, lose or draw, not here to lose, we're going to go out and win. Mate, that's what gave me that real, hey, we're good to go.
You know, I love that. I got goosebumps while you were talking, Angelo, because I do get it. And you know, the person I mentioned earlier that said to me, I believe in you, everyone believes in you. The only person that doesn't believe in you was, you know, around 80. And I think so much wisdom comes with that life experience. And when you hear someone that's further down the path than we are, and you know, they can see your potential, you think, you know, I've got to do this. So no, I completely get it. Guys, that was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing about that part of your journey. Thank you for sharing. I can tell the energy that you guys have. And so we're going to talk, you're 90 days into launching your own business. And I want to talk about, we've spoken about, you know, why you did it. We've spoken about how you overcame the fear of doing it. Now you are doing it. Let's say you've jumped out of the plane and it's all going well. You're 90 days in. And, there's a lot of energy that comes with that. Nathan, you spoke before about the energy of being in control of your own destiny and that you live and breathe by the decisions that you make, live or die by the decisions that you make. That's a lot of fun, right? So let's talk about what that new business energy looks like for you guys and how it's actually translated through to, listing and selling and also just dealing with your clients. What's it been like the first 90 days?
Look, Dan, it's funny. I mean, we sort of sit back and we look at where that first 90 days has been for us, and we've really had two resets of new business energy. I mean, with the environment we're in, I'm sick of saying it, but the COVID-19 story. So, I mean, we were pumped. We've made the decision. We overcome our fear. We've teamed up with Dan Argent, powered by UrbanX. We're ready to go nuts. We pushed into launching this thing earlier than we wanted to do and make guns are blazing. And we get 4 weeks in and we're told to bloody stay home. So that was a really big roller coaster at the start, and we were sitting here zigging and zagging. And it wasn't until after that point we sat back and we joke about it now and said, inadvertently, the way that we had been able to make our decisions for sole property agents was we were already set up for it. It actually didn't change anything for us at all. If anything, it reignited our energy just to get on for one of our core principles about, doing things that little bit differently and that different level of energy around why we're here and doing it, So we got to hit that reset button twice. We got to get that kick charge twice. And I think maintaining that new energy from the get-go was the real good support we had from, being around for a fair while. So we had that great community and client support from people that were close to us, which gave us our first runs on the board. And mate, this week, restrictions are lifting. It's real estate time. It's go time. It didn't really stop for us. But now the rest or any excuses that you could hang on your hat, they're gone. So the motivation and the energy to get out there and crack that whip, mate, we get to do it all over again, all within 90 days. So, mate, we're fortunate. I think the whole thing and the scenario is just an absolute blessing.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Nathan, I know you guys did a massive launch party when you launched the business. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that sort of resulted in for you guys?
Yeah, look, you talk about this new business energy, and anybody thinking about making the leap, they're going to need the new business energy to get you through. It is so exciting. For us, there's just not enough hours in the day, and that all started with the launch party. And the concern of inviting people and they may not turn up. I was given, I don't know if you'd call it advice, but I was certainly given a word of warning before we started. And that was, the people that you believe will support you are going to let you down.
Wow.
But you will be totally blown away by the support from those you least expected.
Wow.
And that was so true. We had the launch party and people came to support the launch of the new business. But more importantly, they supported our vision and the things that we wanted to do differently. And certainly, as Angelo just mentioned, with COVID-19, we were always going heavily technology-based. We wanted to be mobile because speed of service was really important to us. And also, we wanted to build a magnetism around the way we communicated. And that launch party just gave us a huge boost of energy. And that has run through the last 90 days. And the referrals we're getting, the recommendations we're getting. My wife's got a business. We did some deliveries for Mother's Day. And while I'm knocking on doors, handing over Mother's Day gifts, it was incredible, the comments. Oh, you've started that new business, Sole Property Agents. And then that led into conversations and, again, further referrals. So we learnt very quickly that the reputation of character is so important. So we'd laid the foundation over the last 15 years. If you're in it for a quick dollar, you will pay the price. We could never have known that as young agents, but it's coming back to us now that we've done the right thing. And although people aren't transacting in real estate every day, we have had so many people say, you are our guys. And that's after 90 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that new business energy, anybody thinking about taking the leap, they're going to need that. But if I could share that advice again, you will be bitterly disappointed by those you thought would support you and don't, but you will be so surprised at the support you get out there from those you least expected.
Yeah, look, that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. I know that tomorrow we're going to be chatting about the support that you get from home because, you've got to have those cheerleaders at home cheering you on when you're going to go out and work for yourself. But, before we get to that, I think that those first 90 days are so important. And it's almost like building the momentum. You're pushing a car. And, when you push a car from stationary, which a new business, even though you've built the car, that's been the 15 years of reputation and character building that, you've spoken about. You've built the car, but now you've got to get this new business moving and building momentum. And it's like pushing a stationary car. The first 90 days is you getting that car rolling. But once it's rolling, it's so much easier. And so, yeah, great point about, you need that energy. Don't come into this thinking that you don't need that energy to get something new moving. Now, we spoke yesterday about, you'll be surprised at the people that do support you and the people that don't support you when you go out and start your own business. And that's great advice. I know from talking to you guys previously that the support that you actually get from home is really important. I know that for both of you, your home life, your wives and your kids are really important to you, a huge part of your why to actually go out and start your own business. But it's an ongoing journey with them because they've got to be involved in that process, ongoing. So can you tell us a little bit about the support that you do get from your families and how important that is?
Look, Dan, family for me it's the reason. The reason why my wife and I are married, one of the core fundamentals with our story is our family orientation, our upbringing, and where we hold things close. So the support from her and my kids and my extended family, to be able to do what we do every day and every night. I kid you not, the black and white conversation was this, in the end of it, part of the fear experience that we spoke about earlier in the week was Kate, she's busy in her own right. And I said, this changes at the start for us. We were pretty comfortable. We were living very comfortably and just doing what we do every day. And I said, we've got to juggle a few things around here. And, this is how it's got to be going forward. Expect the longer hours, expect the not being home. There's no Saturday, Sunday anymore at all. It's just not how it looks. You've got to put those hard yards in. And, the biggest thing for me was, she had my back. And, she was one of the big pushers to get on and get going with it. She backed me as well, as I said, my dad. But if you don't have that absolute crust at home for that, genuine support, what for? What is the why? I mean, I've been to that many bloody training exhibitions and that much, the storytelling of these big successful guys are on their fifth and sixth bloody marriage, and I speak like that because it's real for me. And one of the things that I'm highly conscious of, I'm doing this because I want to better myself in other ways. I want to supply and have for my family and give that real grounding for my kids. But they've got to be on the bus. And if you're not on the bus when it's moving, then it doesn't matter. Yeah. So the support for them, it's 110%. They give it to me every day, every morning. I get to drop off the kids at school still. I get my kiss and cuddle, and then it's game on. So we get into it.
Yeah, love that. Angelo, what you said before really resonated with me. One of the things that I noticed attending ARIC and different training events was, and I don't know why, but I'd always, hear these amazing speakers and I just look down at their left hand and see, how many of them had a wedding ring on, and, very few of them did. And that's fine. I mean, everyone's on their own journey and there's no problem with that. But I sort of thought about the life that I wanted. And you really want to make it a team sport. You want to do this together because what's that saying? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I really take a lot from that. I think having that support around you is incredibly important. So, thank you for sharing. That's great. Nathan, what about you? Mate, you are surrounded by women. You've got a wife. You've got 3 daughters. You're a bit outnumbered. How much of them is your why, and what's their support been like, and how important has it been for you?
The exciting thing is that family support is unconditional. So Alison and the girls, no matter what I wanted to do, they were always supportive. But what was really apparent was their intuition on how happy I was. And we mentioned earlier in the week that Alison had gone to a card reader. And true story, on the day that Alison went to the card reader, my 5-year-old said, "Dad, why don't we have fun anymore?" The card reader said to Alison at almost the same time, "Alison, your daughter will be happy when Nathan's happy again." And that just tore me apart. I won't go too far into that, but that support, that unconditional love, that's a huge part. But there were 2 or 3 other things. The second one for me is it's so exhilarating driving around and the kids going, "Dad, there's your signboard. Dad, there's your signboard." Yeah. It's a real estate thing. I still love saying, "There's my signboard."
I'm sick of my kids saying, "Nathan, you're on TV at the moment. There's Nathan. Dad, where's your ad?"
So that's exhilarating. But something that came about while we're on the journey of building Soul Property Agents was working with a marketing company and actually going through the exercise of our brand principles. Now, when you talk about support, it was actually the support I gave myself when I learned who I was and what I wanted to do in the marketplace. And that was an experience or a journey that both Angelo and I went on. And there were pages and pages of thoughts and information. And we were able, through the help of the marketing agency, bring that down into 4 core values and 2 principles. And that has given us the strength, or that's given us the strength to trust who we are. And so, believe it or not, that was the ultimate support we needed, was to get back and believe in ourselves and trust our instincts again. So, interesting journey, but I tell you what, it's what's driving Soul Property Agents. And if anybody listening has got any doubt about what's going on in their world, I suggest you get back to yourself. Learn about who you are and what makes you tick, and just go with your gut.
Yeah. Nathan, I love that, because I was only just reading this week that for leaders, the number 1 skill is self-awareness. Being aware of who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, what your convictions are, is the number 1 attribute that you need to be a successful leader. Because until you know who you are, how the hell can anyone else know who you are, and therefore, be led by you and work with you? So, I think when you do start your own business, you as well as becoming a business owner, you become a leader. And whether you employ others or not, you're certainly leading yourself, because no one's going to be leading you when you work for yourself. So you have to lead yourself. And then if you do employ other people, then you've got to lead them as well. And I think leadership's a term that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. But I think that when you've got that self-awareness and you are comfortable with who you are and what you stand for, then it just comes naturally to you. So, mate, thank you for sharing. Love that.
And I think it extends a little bit wider as well, Dan, in terms of, the network we're involved with, obviously your own, which is UrbanX. We're heavily involved with Tom Panos and the Real Estate Gym and all the various training forums. And once you know who you are and what you stand for, then you can enter these groups and you gain incredible support. And even just through Facebook, Instagram, which is how we connected, but I'm connecting with so many agents, and you align your values, and we're able to drive ourselves, particularly from different marketplaces. And it's a really exciting time to be in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned me, and thank you for that. And you also mentioned Tom. And, I think, you guys, Tom, myself, we all have that self-awareness. We know who we are, and that's where you can connect. And that's how people connect. if your values align with my values or align with someone else's value. That's how we connect as humans. We connect on values. And so, when I was talking about self-awareness, that's what I meant. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your convictions? When you know that, you can lead, but you can also connect with others. So Nathan, you articulated it beautifully. So did you, Angelo. Thank you so much. We're talking like you're a couple of old veterans. You're 90 days into starting your own business and working for yourselves. And obviously it's been an interesting 90 days because you've had COVID-19 to deal with during that as well. But as with any experience, now that you're 90 days into the journey, I would love to hear what your key learnings have been. We've spoken about why you wanted to start your own business, how you overcame the fear of doing it, the support of those around you, the new business energy that you've experienced. But with everything that's happened over the last 90 days, what are the key learnings? And if you could have your time over again, what would you do differently now?
Dan, look, it's funny where you touch on all the points that we've discussed this week. I sat back and digested a bit, a little bit more. I like to analyze things. It's the type of person I am, and it's very, very interesting where you see all these business opportunities. Either people decide they're going to go it alone, or you team up in a partnership like Nathan and I have. And I guess the only, if it's advice or a word that I can give is breaking down and really working out that connection and that drive, which is what Nathan and I were able to do at the start. That's the first part and the early energy. To answer the question about what I would do differently if I had my time again, I would have taken the time to probably just analyse little facets in where we connect and where our strengths and weaknesses are. And there's not huge differences across the whole board, but it's different scenarios. So, Nathan's one of these guys. He's climbing Mount Everest, man. The flag is already up on top of the mountain. He is there. He's arrived. That's it. He hasn't really given a shit about what's in the backpack just yet. He hasn't decided if the rope's in there. He hasn't decided, do we need some water and whatever else. So that's probably where I come in a little bit, where I sit back and go, yeah, I want the photo too, but let's make sure the gearbox is in the bloody car to get there as well. So, that's one of the things that I have learned. And if I had my time again, it was probably just a little bit more time to finish some prep in the way I'd like to do things. But hey, like you said, let's go skydiving. You jump out of the plane and the parachute will open. Sure, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So, Angelo, the two key things that I've taken away from you there are, if you're going to go into partnership with somebody else, it's important to have common goals right from the start. You've got to be on the same page. And number two, do a SWOT analysis, which is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and actually have a look at what the differences are that you both bring to that relationship, and make sure that you bring I guess, they say in relationships, opposites attract, but I think opposites attract because of the strengths and the weaknesses. Two people that are strong in the same thing but weak in another are just going to piss each other off, right? So it's actually about finding people with complementary skills. So look, I think you guys will very successfully get to the top of Everest, as I actually did a year ago. Nathan will be running up there and you'll be following behind with the rope and the water and all the necessary tools to get there.
He's like a little old lady.
Nathan,
I can tell you what I've learned in the last 90 days is we should have done this sooner. We should have done this earlier. I look back, the same as Angelo, of what we've covered this week. And we've only been doing this 90 days. I should have been doing this for the decade. I look at the support that we received, the comments, and a lot of what we've been doing recently is attributed to Gary Vee. And he talks about regret. And if you want to learn about regret, go and visit the old people's homes and let them tell you the stories about the chances and the opportunities they did not take.
That's powerful.
Now, we made some very quick decisions, but the reality is we had it inside us. We knew this is what we were going to do. we didn't know we were going to do this together. But if you can learn to trust that instinct, and that's what I've learned in the last 90 days, how much I did not trust my instinct, my intuition, and I allowed that fear to paralyze me. So this 90 days, you know, we'll look back at this recording and we'll talk about COVID, but the COVID pandemic has really shown us also in the last 90 days how much stuff we need to say no to. We have been in lockdown, and yet there's not enough hours in the day to consume the information people are sharing. So it's given us a chance to also, and you and I have talked about it in goal setting, and we've talked about it in being able to achieve our number one goal for the day. We've got to learn to say no, eliminate distractions, and be singularly focused. So I've learned that. Listening to Angelo in terms of our relationship, we are very different, but it's that energy in line with the new business energy that allows us to attack every day. I cannot wait to get to work. I used to say get into the office. With COVID, we now know you don't need the office. We just can't wait to get to work. And that can be anywhere at any time. And we touched on yesterday, brand principles and developing what is important to you and your values. You know, one of ours is balanced. And you talk about this relationship. I'll read it. The contrasting facets of our agency's personality do not fight for singular attention. Rather, they empower one another to work towards a unified change to the real estate norm. And that's what Soul Property Agents is all about. You know, it comes from the heart, it comes from within, and it takes varying personalities to work together. So in 90 days, I've learned a hell of a lot.
You sure have, yeah. It absolutely sounds like it. Well, you know what, Nathan, I've got nothing to add to that. That's a really great note for us to end the week on. Very, very powerful advice. Guys, I just want to congratulate you both on taking the next step, jumping out of the plane, figuring out the parachute on the way down. You guys are doing very well. I'm personally very proud to see how well you guys are doing. I know your families are as well, and I know you guys are personally. You are at the start of a very exciting journey, and one that I think you will never, ever regret. So, guys, well done, and we look forward to checking in with you both again. I think we should do a follow-up in 12 months. On how things are going and what you've learned then. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. Have a lovely weekend, and look forward to talking again soon.
Thanks so much for having us, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
The daily RE Uncut shows are supported by Printforce, Shore Agents, Rock End, and CoreLogic. RE Uncut is one of the anchor shows at retplus.com, the home of property.